Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the top 5 cross-map Brimstone mollies on every map. First, let's start with Ascent. This molly is used to protect the spike when it's planted on the left hand side of site. It lands perfectly between the box and the wall, stopping anyone defusing the spike, or you could even use it on defense if you're flanking through A main to slow down the plant. It's only 5th on the list though, as it isn't that common for a player to be playing in this position when it would be effective. Next is this molly from mid to the default plant spot in B site behind the boxes. This is a defender's molly if the attacking team have taken B site and you want to delay the plant. Third on this list is the lineup from market all the way to A site. It lands in the same spot as the 5th best molly. This again is a defender's molly to stall out the plant if the attacking team has rushed onto the site. We'll stay in the market for the next molly, but this time it's onto the A site. This lands at the default plant spot and can be used to delay a plant or by an attacking player who's been playing in market but has had the door closed on them. This will stall out a defuse attempt, giving you enough time to get through the door. As this is such an easy lineup and it's from an area where people are likely to be playing, it's second on the list. Finally, the best molly on Ascent is from A main onto the Rafters. If your team is having to rush onto site late in the round and you're out of smokes, this molly can easily win you the round. It stops any defenders peeking site from the Rafters, meaning as your team enter all they have to worry about is A-Link and the site itself. It takes a little bit of practice to learn, but once you get this lineup, it's easily the most useful molly on Ascent. Next up is Bind. The 5th best molly on this list is very situational, but if the defending team are frequently playing on the boxes by showers, this will clear them out in no time. It's a pretty hard lineup as you have to go by eye the distance to the right of the leaf, but if you need someone to be moved out of this angle, this is the molly for it. This next lineup is actually a 2-for-1. They land on either side of the tunnel in B side, but they're so close together I thought I'd count them as one. If your team has lost control at the B side, the common plant spots are on the attacker side of the tunnel. If you have info on the plant spot, use whichever lineup is best suited to it, but if you have to guess, use the one that lands on the right hand side of the tunnel. Of course you can use these lineups on attack too if you know the defender's spawn is safe after the spike is planted. The 3rd best lineup is onto the plant spot behind the 3 boxes in A site. If you've planted the bomb here and been pushed out of showers, this molly will give you enough time to either rotate to B short to approach the defusing team from a different angle, or just stall out the plant in general. The second molly on the list is from a very similar position, although this time it's going to land on the boxes on the left hand side of site where the bomb is commonly planted. Turns out this area is great for mollies. Finally, the best molly on Bind is onto the default plant spot in B site. If you're holding the spike from B long but get pushed back into the fountain area, you can use this line out to stall out any attempted defuse. This is my number 1 spot, as if the spike is planted in its default spot, the best place to defend it from is B long. So in a post plant situation, being pushed back to B fountain isn't that uncommon, so you'll be able to use this molly all the time. Next is Haven. There are tons of molly lineups on this map, so it was difficult to find the best 5. If there were multiple mollies from one part of the map to a specific spot, I tried to just find the easiest possible lineup for them. 5th on the list is this molly onto the default plant spot of A site. This is mainly for the attackers if you're trying to hold the bomb from the exit of A long, but get pushed back and just need to stall out the last few seconds of the defuse. The 4th spot on this list is a very similar situation to the last one, but this time on C site. This molly goes from C long to the default plant spot in C site. As an attacking player, it's pretty common to be playing at the end of C long after the bomb is planted. This molly can be used if your line of sight is smoked out, or if there are multiple enemies holding your angle so you don't want to peek. This next molly is very simple and can be used by both the defenders and attackers. If you're having to rotate from mid to A site and you hear the bomb being planted or defused, you can quickly bounce this molly off the wall as you rotate, as it lands perfectly on the default plant spot. The second best lineup on Haven is this molly from mid to C site. Very similar to the previous one, this can stall out a plant or defuse and can be used on the fly as you rotate through mid. This one beats out the previous lineup, as it's more common for the attacking team to be in this area due to the rotate through garage, so it can be more commonly used by both teams. Finally, the best molly on Haven is into the A window. This is a very similar one to the best molly on Ascent, where if you're low on smokes late in the round, this one can be a game winner. If you don't have to worry about the window as you push into a site, it makes it much simpler to check all the angles, as you don't have to be constantly worried about being shot from above. You have to jump to get this lineup, but as long as you position the cursor well before you do it, it's pretty simple to land. This leads us nicely onto the final map split. Due to the tall skyscrapers on this map, the lineups are actually very easy. It makes you wonder if some of these lineups were designed by the map makers. First is the molly from B lobby onto the plant spot under B heaven. It's not that common for the attacking team to be here after the bomb is planted, but it can be used to stall out a defuse if you are. Next is a slightly different molly to all the others on these lists. This one you bounce off the floor in B heaven, and it lands on the default B side plant spot. This one is so good because it can be used on the fly, and if the attacking team have taken the B site, they'll definitely be holding the window, so you can use this from safety to give your team a little bit more time to reposition. Of course, it works for the attacking team too after the spike is planted. The next two lineups are both from A lobby onto the common plant spots on A site. The first one covers the plant behind the box in the middle of site. This not only stops a defuse, but also rotation around the back of the box. It's also possible for a defender to stall a plant from this position if they've rotated through sewers. For the next spot, you actually aim at the same point in the sky, but this time from a bit further forward. This lands the molly on the far side of site on the other common plant spot. This is very similar to the previous one, but as this plant spot is more common, it goes higher on the list. Finally, the best molly on split is from the defender's spawn onto the B side. Even though it's only a defender's molly, it's so common for the defenders to be rotating through this area that this one can be used all the time. It lands perfectly on the default plant spot and will stall out the plant for long enough to rotate into heaven or into the site. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please subscribe. I made a top 5 Cypher cams on every map, so check that out here. Thanks for watching!